Okay, welcome to lesson 3 on topic 24, the sine and the cosine rule. If you've completed the last 2 lessons and you've done all the work on the cosine rule, finding sides and finding angles, if you've done all the questions and been able to answer the GCSE questions, I think you can confidently tick off this point here, knowing and applying the cosine rule. What we're going to look at today is knowing and applying the sine rule, okay, and there's a difference between those two. So, title today of the sine rule. And initially, I just want to make sure we can ascertain whether we're going to use the cosine rule or the sine rule. So if we look at this first triangle, what you've got here is this is a question that connects together 3 sides and 1 angle, okay? So that must be the cosine rule. If you then look at this question as well, you've got 3 sides here and 1 angle in between. So again, we're looking at the cosine rule. However, this one in the middle here, what you've got here is you've got 2 sides and 2 angles. So this is an example where we're going to need to use the sine rule, okay, which we're going to look at today. Now, I want you to make that point clear in your notes. So I want you to try and explain, in the same way that you did for the cosine rule, that it involved 3 sides, 1 angle. The sine rule involves 2 sides and 2 angles. Now, the sine rule itself looks like this. Okay, so this is a formula you will need to copy down and again learn. Okay, highlight it, make sure you learn it. This will not be given to you in your GCSE. This is the full form of it. In reality, we don't tend to use that end bit that much. We tend to focus just on this first part, okay? So, looking at a question like this, the question involves 2 sides and 2 angles. So the first thing, as we did previously with the cosine rule, is to label the triangle yourself. So get rid of these labels, and then label the triangle yourself. So similar to the cosine rule, small letters are sides, uppercase letters are angles. So what we've got here is, I'm going to call that A and that lowercase a, I'm going to call that B and that lowercase b. And again, we're looking at opposites, okay? They have to be opposite to each other to have the same letter. So initially, we're looking to substitute into our formula and see how it looks once we've done that. So my side A is x, my sine A is sine 33, my side B is 15, and my angle B is 112. So we've set up the sine rule now. The next part is about rearranging before we start typing things into our calculator. So if I wanted to get x on its own here, x is being divided by sine 33. So to get rid of that, I need to multiply by sine 33. So I'm going to multiply by both sides by sine 33. And I'm going to write it like that. Now, you can write it like that, or you need to be aware that if I was to multiply those two things together, that would be over 1. So actually, if I wanted to write this all as 1 fraction, I could just have that on the numerator of the fraction, have it as 15 sine 33 over sine 112. So I could have it written like that instead. These 2 things mean the same, okay? Either of them is fine and you're working. The last thing to do, however, is just to type one of these 2 forms, probably this one, into your calculator, and then round it to 3 single figures gives you 8.81 centimetres. So I'd like you to pause the video and just make sure you copy that down, maybe rewind it, check you understand what I've done there. I'll now go through another example. So we're looking at this example. Again, 2 sides, 2 angles. We must be looking at the sine rule. So A, B, B. So substituting in now, I've got 13 over sine 100 is equal to x over sine 38. So same process, I'm looking to multiply that up there to get rid of this fraction here. So multiply by the sine 38, and we can write it as 13 sine 38 over sine 100. Type that into your calculator and you get x equals 8.13 centimetres. Okay, we'll just look at one more because there is a slight variation. If you look at something like this, I think most people are able to understand that it's a sine rule because they're talking about two sides, two angles. However, if you start to look at opposites and ignore these labels here, if we start to look at opposites, we say A and A, and then we've got B, and we're left without the opposite angle there. So sometimes you'll need to do a bit of work before you start to get one of the angles. So if you look here, you've got 77 and 29. Subtract that from 180, gives you 74. So we have to find that angle first to be able to use the sine rule because we need to be opposite. Okay, now we're just substituting in. So we're able to say 87 over sine 77 is equal to x over sine 74. Multiply up the sine 74. Remember, you can write it separately or you can write it as one fraction. Type that into your calculator and you end up with x equals 85.8 centimetres. Okay, I'd like you to get at least two of those examples down into your books. Again, emphasise the sine rule involves two sides, two angles. Cosine rule involves three sides, one angle. I'd then like you to try the questions in your booklet as well as the GCSE questions as well. Okay, any questions, email your teachers.